New York City is the greatest city in the world. Everyone wants to be here. I'm so glad to be here. Everything is so beautiful.
Hey guys, study after study shows that if you want strong bones and muscles, healthy hair, skin, teeth, and nails, you need the 5 types of collagen in your diet. I get mine from BioTrust. I've got a link in the description with a massive discount, and it'll tell you all about it.
Okay, I want to talk about Sam Harris. This is one of those examples of, I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how intellectual you are. I don't care what your IQ level is. If you come across as a dumbass, and he did in this recent ridiculous tweet against Trump and for Biden. But I just want to show you, it says, you know, if you look up Sam Harris, samharris.org says Sam Harris is a neuroscientist. Well, let me just tell you before we get into this video, some of them neurons ain't firing too well. Sam, what's going on with you? He's a philosopher, a New York Times best-selling author, host of Making Sense podcast, which he makes no sense in this tweet that I'm about to show you, and the creator of Waking Up, the Waking Up app. Well, he's sound asleep. We're going to go over some of this stuff, but I want to start with this tweet right here. He says, and he just put this up, it's like a couple hours ago, and look at this. Ethan Klein retweeted it. Look at this. I love seeing Trumpists condemning the political optics of this image. Admittedly, they are terrible, but they are only bad by reference to values that should lead you to totally repudiate Trump himself, as though Biden shouldn't be repudiated. For Biden, this is a gaffe. And all these mistakes, all these crazy mistakes that Biden makes, these serious mistakes, you know, when he's misreading the teleprompter, he's saying words that are unintelligible. They like to pacify because that's their guy. That's their Team Blue leader. So, of course, if he makes a serious mistake, it's going to be a gaffe. Of course, if he signs a policy issue that's going to hurt a whole lot of Americans, or he reads a teleprompter speech that his bankers wrote him that's going to further divide America, that's just going to be a gaffe. We'll just say that's a gaffe. But if Team Red did the exact same thing, oh, watch out, buddy. This is unacceptable. You must be working for China. For Biden, this is a gaffe. For Trump, it would be a window into his soul, says the avowed atheist. A window into the soul. And he's referring to this image, this sinister looking image by Trump. But let's delve into this. And what I want to do as we delve into this is I want to read some of the comments under this tweet, because he got totally ratioed. Look, so he's got 12,500 likes and he's got 1.5 million followers. 1.5 million followers. He's got 12.5 thousand likes and 16,000 comments, which means he got ratioed into he got pounded into the dust. And because I refreshed this right here, yeah, everything's out of order. But let me show you. I didn't even read Legal Man's comment here, but he's got 498 tweets from 7 hours ago. Says, incredible how many people are actually buying into the idea that our country was put at risk by a few boxes of crap sitting around in a closet at some dude's house that is watched night and day by the Secret Service. What a clown world. Couldn't agree more. Talking about the declassified documents that were in Mar-a-Lago. But let's go over some of these comments. Lauren Chen says, you should see a doctor, Sam. It seems your period has lasted years at this point. It's not healthy. Seek help. What I want to highlight is the fact that this is another one of those examples of why I'm so vehemently against the tribal politics propaganda campaign, the incessant tribal politics propaganda campaign that we always call the left versus right paradigm lie. This shows you how it completely demoralizes and demeans you and dehumanizes you to the point where a great American thinker and philosopher and neuroscientist, Sam Harris, could actually sit down and not just say this, but actually write out a tweet and probably proofreading the tweet and still going ahead and tweeting that thing anyway. This is how out to lunch the left versus right propaganda lie penetrates into the depths of your brain and your soul to the point where it makes your brain like 2-year-old expired Jimmy Dean farm sausage. Because that's how I see Sam Harris. I don't care. Don't tell me what your IQ level is. Tell me what your morality level is. Tell me what your consistency level is. Luke Rudowski says Biden is literally doing what people are afraid Trump was going to do. I'll have to agree with that. You know, it is left versus right paradigm life politics, and it is sinking people down under the weight of their own immorality. But still, that's true. Cat Turd says, if you want to see a window into Biden's soul, look at Hunter's laptop and Ashley's diary. Well played. Well played, Cat Turd. I mean, therefore I am says, diary from hell, laptop from hell, presidency from hell. Defiant L says, I get it, man. I start drinking at breakfast too. It's literally brain dead for him to have said this kind of thing. I love seeing Trumpists. What about Bidenists? So it's clear that he is in the back pocket of the Democratic Party. Biden can do no wrong. He's not going to offer any kind of criticism, any substantial criticism. Sydney Watson says, this made me ugly cackle. 5 times August says, for Biden, this is a gaffe. For Trump, it would be a window into his soul, even though Biden literally called the speech the soul of the nation and was totally okay with the soul's aesthetic being dressed up like a 1930s Germany. What I wrote down here was values like the values that caused Biden to threaten gun-owning Americans with F-15 fighter jets. Guns aren't going to do you a bit of good because we have F-15s. We have nukes. What are you threatening us with there? Liberty Lockdown says, Sam, we got to see your TDS in all its horrifying glory 2 weeks ago. We get it. You can stop now. There was one guy who said something. I'm gonna pull up the example of it, but he said something like, okay, Mr. Children in the basement. And this is what he was referring to right here. We did a video on this when it first came out. This was from August 18th, 2022, just a couple weeks ago. But listen to what Sam Harris says. And this is completely, you know, you would think, okay, who just said this? Somebody with a low IQ? Somebody who has no understanding or grasp on the situation that the Federal Reserve is actually in control and Biden is the same as Trump. Trump is the same as Biden. Are there different policies that work different things for different reasons? Yeah, but they're still dangling at like marionettes from the bankster strings. Listen to what Sam Harris says here.
I mean, Hunter Biden, at that point, Hunter Biden literally could have had the corpses of children in his basement. I would not have cared, right? It's like, there's nothing. First of all, it's Hunter Biden, right? It's not Joe Biden. But even if whatever scope of Joe Biden's corruption is, like if we could just go down that rabbit hole endlessly and understand that he's getting kickbacks from Hunter Biden's deals in Ukraine or wherever else, right? Or China, it is infinitesimal compared to the corruption we know Trump is involved in.
Whatever scope of corruption Biden is involved in, that ain't nothing compared to the corruption that Donald Trump is involved in. I don't care if you told me that Hunter Biden, the son of a sitting president, had the corpses of dead children in his basement. It doesn't matter to me because you can't touch the corruption from Donald J. Trump. How out to lunch? This is beyond 2-year-old Jimmy Dean farm sausage brain. This is pickled brain. This is, do you have brains? This is, do you have a heart? Do you have a soul? Do you have eyes? Are you paying attention to what's going on? Do you actually know who controls the issuance and value of our currency? Therefore, who controls the military industrial complex? Who controls every senator? Who controls the congressman? Who controls the sitting president and the president's children? Do you even understand? Are the lights on? Is there even a home? Is there a house? Is there anything on your property? What are you talking about? He goes beyond, I don't care if there's corpses in Hunter Biden's basement, because that's just the son. And beyond that, I don't care what the scope of the corruption of Joe Biden is. It can't even possibly come close to Donald J. Trump. Wow, that's why a guy like that can write something like this. And that's why an Ethan Klein can retweet something like this. Because the lights aren't on, because there is no home, and his brains are pickled if there are any brains. And it really goes beyond intellect here, guys. It's about, number one, you are so ignorant. Do you really not know what's going on? Or are you playing this game, this left versus right paradigm game, because you're being paid to play it? Are you actually being just a plant so that you can appeal to people that other people can't appeal to? Because there's a wide array, an astonishing choice of people that you can go to that are going to lead you down the wrong path into the left versus right paradigm lie, which we should just start calling the tribal politics propaganda campaign. That's incessant. They constantly want you to protect democracy. And the way you protect democracy is use your voice, because your voice is your vote. And you should be a good little slave and take your little ballot and you should put it in the slave suggestion box, because we want you to do that. If voting worked, guys, if voting affected your freedom positively in any way, they wouldn't let you do it. What part of that do we not understand? And that's why he can write something like this. I didn't read. Let's see. I'm going to try to look for some of the ones that got the most. Tim Young says, admittedly, they are terrible. And that's what Sam Harris said. Admittedly, the optics are terrible, but Biden's butt tastes so good on my lips. Sam Harris. Yeah, he's kissing political ASS. So I just wanted to bring this out. There was another story, and I'm not going to go over all this, but this is another one of these things that lends credence to the official story of you know what. Author Sam Harris under fire for saying that Trump is worse than Osama bin Laden. Tim who was that? Tim Os M-A-N. Sam Harris, a noted American author and public intellectual, give me a break, caused a stir on social media when he told listeners to his podcast that former President Donald Trump, quote, is a worse person than Osama bin Laden. Quote, I've said on several occasions that I think Donald Trump is a worse person than Osama bin Laden. Harris, an atheist, neuroscience, and philosopher, said he understands why such a statement is surprising, but insists it wasn't meant to be hyperbolic. I can defend every word of that statement. He said, what I can't defend are people's misunderstandings and erroneous extrapolations of a statement like that. And listen to what he says, guys. This is so, just the psychology of this thing is so interesting to me. Harris sought to clarify his comment by saying bin Laden, the al-Qaeda arch terrorist who masterminded you know what. You know, he did that from a cave in Abbottabad with an old cell phone, old laptop, old technology. He was able to wreak havoc in lower Manhattan. This guy with 19 of his henchmen with box cutters could do all that amazing stuff, man. Well, at least that's what the official story says, right? That killed close to 3,000 people was more or less, it's more than that. You know what the fallout from that is. It was way more than that. Was more or less a normal human being psychologically. He was just living in a grip of a dangerous and idiotic worldview. Harris said the Saudi terrorist, they called him a Saudi terrorist, quote, created immense harm, and that it was, quote, very good that we killed him. Really? Who told you that we did? And is the source that told you that we did, is that a credible source? I don't know. You guys look into it. But within the framework of this odious belief, he demonstrated many virtues. Quote, he was a man who certainly, and we're talking about Osama here. We're talking about Mr. Tim. Is Mr. Tim in the house? I need to speak to Mr. Tim there. He was a man who certainly seemed to be capable of real sacrifice, committed to ideals beyond his narrow self-interest. Bin Laden, he says, this is Harris still talking, by all accounts, was personally quite courageous. Harris mused that while he didn't know bin Laden personally, it wouldn't surprise him at all if he learned that bin Laden was someone of, quote, real integrity and generosity and compassion in his dealings with his fellow Muslims. And then he says, and this is how you divide the people. None of these things can be said about Donald Trump. Trump is without question one of the least honest and most malignantly selfish human beings I have ever come across. Harris speculated that if Trump, quote, were a better person, he would be worse in many ways. So if Trump was better, he would be worse, says Sam Harris, the neuroscientist and American philosopher and highly sought after intellectual. A brave, self-sacrificing, and idealistic Trump who is capable of being strongly committed to something beyond his narrow self-interest would be capable of creating a much greater harm in the world. But he's not, Harris said, calling Trump a, quote, child in a man's body who lies as freely as he breathes. Can you not say that about every single politician, no matter the color, doesn't matter red, doesn't matter blue, elephant, donkey, whatever, Democrat, Republican, conservative, or liberal? Can you not say that? What is politics? Politics is the art of lying, of obfuscating, of engaging in euphemisms to obstruct and mystify and cloud the truth. Politics is lying, and politicians are liars. Say that doesn't, he lies as freely as he breathes. Oh, that doesn't apply to Joe Biden. Lying as freely as you breathe doesn't apply to Joe Biden, Hunter Biden. It doesn't. Have you ever heard of the Clintons? Lying as freely as you breathe. I mean, one of the first people that comes up in my mind is Slick Willie over there. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, and Hillary Clinton. And you got to be careful what you say about that, because I, Brian Young, being of sound mind and body, I have no desire to take my life. I love my life. I love my girlfriend. I love my kids. I don't want to go anywhere. But if I get Arkancided, 2 bullets to the back of the head. And he slit his throat after he did it, just to make sure. But while he was limping across the floor, holding his jugular, he parked himself in, he's parked his car in the garage and started that thing up so that not only did he have 2 bullets to the back of his head and a slit jugular, he could be sitting in the driver's side of his car with the garage door closed. Yeah, looks like a suicide to me. Hey, that looks like a suicide. I did not oversee the suicide of Brian Young. I did not do it. So that's Sam Harris. I just wanted to go live with this because this is just another demonstration of the tribal politics propaganda campaign that turns people's brains into, I don't know, rotten watermelon. I don't know. I don't know what you would find in the cranium of this guy's brain, but it's beyond the intellect. It's down into the heart. It's down into the moral fabric, who this person actually is, this Sam Harris character, and Ethan Klein, and anybody who would say, oh my God, what he said, that's right on. That's right on, man. So leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know, and subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. This was brought to you by All Guns Matter. I will see you guys in the next video. While we have time and it still retains some of its perceived value, maybe it'd be a good idea to convert your worthless fiat into valuable, storable food. Don't be the one who waits till the food riots start happening. You don't want to be fighting panicking people in the store over that last jar of peanut butter. At Prepare with High Impact Flicks, you can get up to 3 air and watertight gasket sealed ammo cans, each filled with a 4-week emergency supply. 7 food varieties, 2,000 calories a day, 284 servings, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and each meal comes in a resealable, heavy-duty 4-layered pouch. And it's got a 25-year shelf life. Every order of a 4-week supply gets you $100 off plus free shipping. Here's how simple it is to make. I'm going to cook up some Granny's home-style potato soup. People are going to think I'm a culinary hero. You open the pouch, boil 4.5 cups of water, stir the contents, simmer on low heat for 15 to 20 minutes, take it off the heat, then let it set for 2 to 3 minutes before you serve it up.
Man, this stuff's so good. People are going to think Granny stopped by and filled your kitchen with a whole bunch of love.
Well, if Granny does stop by, she's going to fill your behind with a whole bunch of buckshot if you keep talking with your mouth full. Wipe your dang beard off. It's embarrassing. So maybe convert some of your worthless fiat into valuable food while you still can. Order now and get $100 off of up to 3 4-week emergency food supplies at preparewithhighimpactflix.com. The link is in the description.